Hello and welcome. Today I'll be going through part 2 of the Space Marine Codex. Hopefully I will release part 1 and part 2 in the same Warhammer Wednesday. If you've just now come back from watching the first video, I do thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this instalment of Codex review as much as you have the previous one. So let's go straight in there with the HQ. As promised, you've got Captain Sicarius. He's the Ultramarines' second company captain. He runs you out about 175 points. He's got some kind of Tempest blade, which I hear is quite French. It's got a coup de grace kind of close combat attack kind of thing. He's got battle forged heroes. He's got surprise attack, adds +1 to your reserve rolls, things like that. He's pretty decent chap. You've got chapter tactics Ultramarine, so you could use your Space Marines and have it as a founding chapter and have him in there. Then you've got Chief Librarian Tigurius, or Tigger, as many people refer to him. Quite an old model. He needs an upgrade big time. He's a nice model, but he does need an upgrade. He's got his rod, a very strong rod. He allows him to blast his foes' souls from their bodies, so I wouldn't cross him. There was a little bit of an issue in the previous codex, this one, where he was the only guy that knew divination, but I think now all psychers do. I think it's something to do with shrouding. I'm not too sure on the odd psychic powers, but either way, everybody used to take them, and now they probably won't take them as much. So they're kind of, specific HQs. Then you've got Chaplain Cassius, runs you at 130 points. He's got an ornate combi flamer, which is a bolter with hellfire rounds, and it's also got a flamer on it as well, which is one use. Other than that, he's just a chaplain, really. He's got the preferred enemy Tyranids, because I think they burnt his face off at one point or something, I'm not quite sure. Then you've got Sergeant Tellion. He's got Quietus. It's almost like they've run out of names for weapons, for essentially a silenced bolt pistol. It's heavy 2-shot sniper. It's range 36. The shots that he fires are always, including snapshots, are always precision shots. And also, if he doesn't make a shooting attack, then you can nominate one member in the squad, and they have his ballistic skill. Now his ballistic skill is a whopping 6, so it might be worth saying, hold on, fellas, you fire your missile launcher at that whatever, and make sure you hit it. And he's 50 points, so it's quite cheap really, considering he's got some okay stats. Then you've got Sergeant Cronus. He's a tank commander, Ultramarines tank commander. He runs in at 50 points. If you add him to your army, you've also got to take a Rhino, Razorback, Predator, Whirlwind, Vindicator, Hunter, Stalker, Land Raider Crusader, or Land Raider Redeemer, as well as points for 50 points for the Cronus. And then the chosen vehicle, it counts as a character and has ballistic skill 5. And will not die, ignores the effects of cruise taken, cruise done. Pretty decent, I suppose. Then you've got White Scar, Master of the Hunt, Kasaro Khan, 125 points. He's got a nice blade called the Moonfang. Wound on 6s causes a wound regardless of the toughness, and it's got instant death. So pretty decent weapon that he's got on him. Speaking of decent weapons, the Spear of Vulcan on Vulcan Histam. It's strength +2, AP3, melee mastercrafted, 2-handed. He's quite a decent chap as well. If you've got him as your warlord, all your melter guns, combi melters and multi-melters have the mastercrafted special rule. So they re-roll into wound, I think, or hit. But he's quite expensive at 190 points. Then you've got Shadow Captain Shrike. He's got the Raven's Talons. They're AP3 lightning claws, essentially, but they've got rending and shred, and he's got infiltrate, stealth and infiltrate special rules, and he's got an iron halo too, as if that wasn't enough. He's about 185 points. Captain Lysander, he comes in at a whopping 230 points, and you can almost get a squad of Terminators for his cost. However, he does have the Fist of Dawn, which is +6 strength, strength 4, so he's going to have strength 10, AP1, melee, concussive, mastercrafted, special weapon, unwielding. Do you want to get any more rules on that fist? Also, all friendly Imperial fists within 12 inches reroll morale checks, and he's Eternal Warrior. He's pretty hench, 2+ save, and he's got his iron halo and a storm shield, just in case. I mean, just in case your storm shield wasn't enough. He's got his iron halo, which is pretty cool. Then you got Pedro. I always think he's Spanish for some reason. A Spanish Crimson Fist. Pedro Cantor. He's got Dawn's Arrow, which is just an assault 4 24-inch range bolt gun really, and he's got an iron halo. There must have been some kind of sale on with these iron halos at some point, but he's got hold the line. You can control objectives even if an enemy scoring unit is within range of the objective marker, and he's also got preferred enemy for orcs. They can add +1 to their attacks within 12 inches of Pedro Cantor, so stick him in a drop pod, slam him down, have him shoot at everybody near an objective, preferably orcs. And then if the orcs charge, well, you get an extra attack, everybody. It's pretty decent. And you've got High Marshal Helbrecht. These are Black Templars, High Marshal. I'm not a big fan of what happened to the Black Templars. I think they should have kept their own codex, in my opinion. I mean, Dark Angels, Blood Angels have their own codex. Black Templars used to. There's plenty of models to do that, and they could have created some more, but Black Templars, whatever your opinions, they've been amalgamated into the main Space Marine Codex from now until forever. He's 180 point High Marshal, and he's got the Sword of High Marshals. Basically it gives him charge bonus of D3 attacks instead of just the normal 1, so you could have him at 7 attacks, and his initiative is 5, so he's not too shabby. Then you've got the Emperor's Champion, Sword of the Emperor. He's got Chapter Tactics Black Templars. He's got the Black Sword, only gives you +2 strength, so it's a strength 6. Now I remember when he first came out, the old model, which I still have, you could have your normal attacks, I think +2 strength or something like that, but then you could have a double-handed attack, which was like a strength 8 attack, but this is now just strength 2 and +2 strength, but it is AP2, melee and mastercrafted, which is still good. I mean, he still holds his own. He's only got 2 wounds though, but his initiative is 5, but he doesn't have an invulnerable save at all. But his weapon skill 6, pretty decent. He's quite cheap. Well, he's 140 points. I always thought he was about that much. Then you got Chaplain Grimaldus, 150 points. I think he's got some kind of retinue as well. He can have 5 Cenobite servitors, 15 points per model. Doesn't say what they're armed with though, but they do get feel no pain within 6 inches. You know, other friendly units, pretty decent. And finally, after all of those pages, after 14 pages, you then come to the kind of vanilla, generic part of the Space Marine Codex. So you've got a captain, 90 points, pretty decent price. You can upgrade him to a Chapter Master, and the Chapter Master gets this orbital strike, which is 1 use, kind of lance from orbit, strength 10 blast, which is pretty crazy. And he's got the 4 wounds, which is again pretty crazy. I always thought that Chapter Masters only had 3, Captains had 2, but actually completely wrong. Chapter Masters can have 4 wounds. They've got high initiative, high weapon skill, strength and toughness are quite decent, plenty of attacks. Their leadership is 10, save is 3+. They have an iron halo as standard, so they get in the 3+ and then 4+ invulnerable. You can kit them out with a relic blade for 25 points. They can take artificer armor. I don't know whether I'd do that because it's 20 points and it just bumps the save up by 1. They can take all kinds of different things. You can put him in Terminator armor for 30 points, but then you lose his grenades and things. He's a very solid choice for an HQ. If you want to go down the route of psychic powers and things, basically get another shooting attack, as I'd like to call it, or you want to buff your squads and things, go for a librarian. 65 points, generates powers from biomancy, demonology, divination, pyromancy, telekinesis and telepathy discipline, so pretty much all of them now. He's only got 2 wounds rather than the captain's standard 3 now. His initiative isn't as good. He hasn't got as many attacks, and his weapon skill and ballistic skill aren't as good. But then again, he's only 65 points, which is nothing really. And you can give him Terminator armor for the old 25 points. So for 90 points, that's the equivalent, he'll get a 2+, 5+ invulnerable. But then you have to pay for the Storm Bolter or a Storm Shield and so on. But again, he can take many things. You get a Tech Marine as an HQ choice, again quite cheap, 65 points. He's only got 2 wounds, similar kind of stats as the Librarian, but what you've got is he's got the Blessing of the Omnissiah, a little bit like the Tech Priest Ominous. Instead of shooting, he can choose to repair a single friendly vehicle that he's base-to-base contact with or embark from. Roll a d6, and for each servitor with a servo arm in his unit, an additional 1 if the Tech Marine has a servo harness. If the result is 5 or more, you may restore a hull point or weapon destroyed, and so on and so on. But the Tech Marine that you have has to have a servo arm. And the thing is, if you want to have them with weapons, they replace their servo arm with, you know, heavy bolter, multi-melter, plasma cannon. Also, the Technomarine can bolster defences, so you can bolster one piece of terrain. Basically, your cover save is increased, and it can only be bolstered once, and that's to a maximum of 3+. He's quite decent, especially if you give him a harness as well, which I would. Version Beamer, possibly. Then we come on to a Chaplain, which is a very decent choice. He's only got 2 wounds again, his initiative isn't amazing, but he comes with his invulnerable 4+ save from his Rosarius, and he's got his power weapon, and he's got Zealot special rule, which is pretty decent. Then after all your HQ, you've got Tactical Squad, 70 points, very decent amount of models for the 70 points. You get your 5, and then you can bump them up at 14 points per model. They used to be 15, I think. They really are the standard for every other troop out there in the galaxy, in my opinion. Very well rounded. You've got Weapon Skill 4, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength 4, Toughness 4, Wounds 1, Initiative 4, Attacks 1, Leadership 8, and Save 3. Don't think that's ever changed in all my years of the hobby. Still exactly the same. You obviously get 1 sergeant, but you can bump him up to a veteran sergeant, and you can give him more items. You can give him a power fist or a grav pistol. If it's less than 10 models, then 1 Space Marine. So you've got 5, or if you've got 9, 1 Space Marine can have either a special weapon or a heavy weapon. If you've got 10, then 1 can take special, 1 can take heavy, and then you can put them in a drop pod, a Rhino, or Razorback as dedicated transport. Tactical Squad, very good points wise. Another thing that's very good points wise is the Scout Squad. Scouts, they've learnt how to shoot. Last Codex, for some reason, Scouts had a bit of a hard time. They were missing a lot on the range. Close combat wise, they just weren't as good. They had Weapon Skill 3 and Ballistic Skill 3. They're my reasons why anyway, but now they've been bumped up. They've now got 4. It's not a misprint, everyone. It is actually 4. So they're a very cheap point cost. They cost the same points, but you're getting an increase in Ballistic Skill and Weapon Skill. So it's now very viable to take them. Way back in the old Codex, it was the same story. Weapon Skill and Ballistic Skill 3. I don't know why, but either way, it's bumped up to 4, so now it's viable for you to take Scout Space Marines with bolt guns if you really wish. For 55 points, gets you 4 and a sergeant. They've all got the same stats, but 55 points gives you a viable troop choice, and you can then bump it up to an additional 5, so you can have 10-man troop choice for 110 points, and they've all got the bolt guns. And then you can give them lots of other things, so you can give them a heavy bolter, you give them a missile launcher, you can kit them out like a tactical squad, but for 110 points. So very viable option there. What I'm going to do here is just pause the video, because I've decided that I'm going to have 3 parts to this, not just the 2, because I'm running a little bit behind, and like I've said before, this codex requires plenty of time going over it and just talking about all of the different units and things. So I hope you join me in the next part 3.